I'm Louise, and this is the Pilates for Busy People weekly show. This week I chat to Georgina, a GP, about the importance of bringing strength and balance into our everyday lives. As we age, our bodies change, and our risks of falls are greater. With falls, further complications occurs, which affect our lives. In this chat, we gain an insight to what's happening to our bodies and what we can do about it now. So let's get on with the show. Hi, welcome Georgina to this week's Pilates for Busy People show. That's a bit of a mouthful. And this week we've got Georgina with us, who is a GP. So welcome, Georgina. And
hi, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Well, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
So as you said, I'm a GP. I am in my late 30s with two small children and a very busy life. I've been doing Pilates with Louise for a long time now, probably 10 years or so, I think.
It's been before kids, hasn't it?
Definitely before kids. Seen me through 2 pregnancies and the recovery from the pregnancies, which is obviously in a whole probably different weekly discussion for another time.
Yes.
And Louise and I talk on a probably almost weekly basis about the benefits of Pilates and exercise, and how I'm always talking to my patients about the importance of doing exercise throughout their lives. But we talk quite a lot about some of the older clients that Louise has got and how they benefit so massively from all the exercise they're getting.
Yeah, and actually that's what we want to talk about. I mean, we could talk about lots of different things, and maybe we will in future. But today we wanted to talk the importance of bringing strength and balance into your daily exercise, because as we get older, we tend to, I suppose I want to know what really happens to our bodies, because it increases our risk of falls, doesn't it, as we get older?
Yeah, absolutely. And falls is becoming a really, really big thing. I mean, we now talk a lot in sort of healthcare about frailty, which is a kind of a combination of all sorts of different things that happen as we get older. But a lot of that is to do with sort of muscle mass loss and weakness in the joints and the spine and the core, and that frailty, is also other parts of the body, like the brain, and is tied in with medications and other sort of medical problems. But falls is a sort of a good marker for how frail somebody is. And
I like you, I've sort of been noticing a lot in the press and stuff about that's one of the biggest risks, and then that obviously that brings complications and death, doesn't it? So it's
absolutely yeah.
Frailty, I haven't heard that word for a long time, and that just seems like really old and really not mobile.
And it doesn't always have to mean that, and we do, but we are recognising it as a sort of an overview umbrella term almost for that sort of, the ageing population, who are, some of them are doing so brilliantly, but some of them are really struggling with what they are now living with as they are in their, 7th, 8th, 9th decade, and the complexities of the multiple things that affects them. And frailty sounds perhaps a little bit negative, but is a very good overview term to kind of sort of summarize the difficulties.
So what sort of issues? So I know not everyone dies after a fall, I know that.
Well, but it does. It shortens your life expectancy. Falling and breaking your hip, so the fracture neck of femur, breaking your hip, as we talk about, is sort of it does shorten your life expectancy. So it is a very important thing to try and prevent.
Yeah, because I know with my father-in-law it's happened, and just to see the decline in him and his confidence, it seems to be
absolutely, and that's where the exercise comes in, often with the confidence. Well, so
if people have had a fall, and we'll come back down to our age type people and what we can do, but if people have had a fall, it doesn't seem at the moment much that they're doing to strengthen them up again.
Yes.
And would that help?
Absolutely, definitely. And there is a lot of support out there from the physios and occupational therapies and teams, getting people out of hospital to get them going again. I think sometimes when those teams kind of withdraw as people settle down, the habits are broken, and they're not then carrying on doing the things that they should be doing. And I think the the really key thing is if people are ingrained into doing exercise and doing certain, particularly strength and balance exercises, but all exercise really throughout their life, if they have something like this happen, A, they're less likely to have it happen, but B, if it happens, they're in good habits in terms of doing these things regularly and what they would normally do with their day-to-day life, it will help them recover better.
And so they don't have to, it's not, because I know, again, the older generation are not used as we are, maybe to going to the gym, going to classes, and it doesn't have to be, it can all be done in the home, can't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
And
some of that is even better probably doing it at home initially.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, and I will put a link below, because I have my kitchen workouts that you can do in the kitchen, holding on to things, and you don't have to get changed, you don't have to do anything, but it's just little exercises. And also, a few shows back, we had Charlotte the physio on, who gave some little things that people could do, and again for older as well as. So if you've not seen that one, go and watch that one as well. So perfect.
Absolutely.
So I teach in my classes people of all ages, and I've got my eldest client's 94, and she's brilliant. But I've noticed her actually sort of, you can see not the frailty, because I think that's the wrong word, but you can see things starting to change, and I think that's
very subtle change. Yeah,
but she is still amazing. She still gets on and off the floor, which at 94 I think is fantastic. So
absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
So I think she's just brilliant. But anyway, but I suppose what it is sort of coming back to our age. We do our exercise. We go to the gym. We go for runs. But what are we missing out on? Because we think we're invincible. Even now, I am. So how can we tell or educate people, or it is going to happen to them if they don't?
Yeah, and I think it's very, very difficult, isn't it, to get that message out there. But I think the key thing is if you start, and I say to a lot of people I see in their 40s that is their window. Women in particular, obviously, is very difficult, because the time of life of going through the menopause around the 50s is a time when life becomes very difficult. And often for people, the first thing to go is their exercise. And actually, it shouldn't be that, both from a physical point of view and from a mental point of view. Yeah. So actually, if you are naturally in good habits where you are doing the right things, building up your strength when you are in your 40s and then 50s and then 60s, your strength, your muscle strength, your joint strength, so the muscles around the joints, keeping your joints stable, your core strength, you're much less likely to have problems. And so that muscle bulk will be there, but you do have to carry it on. But starting the sooner you start, the better. Absolutely, exactly. And I think anything is good. Anything you can do is really good. And I think it's always trying to give people a realistic target of the fact that you don't have to be, going to the gym or doing loads of stuff. Every little bit you do counts. And as I know I've said to you before, Louise, it doesn't matter if you fall off the wagon as long as you get back on. Lots of people are like, well, I used to go and now I don't. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And everybody does that. You've got to do a little bit and keep going.
And I actually think with all, Dr. Mosley, isn't it, is doing a lot of like HIIT workouts and things like that. And actually, little and often, my first show was with Janine, who was trying to fit it into life. And her, the thing I got from her was little and often she does things.
Absolutely.
And you can start to bring things in, and maybe I need to do something about what exercises we could be doing to.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the 10-minute Pilates is really brilliant. It's been so fantastic for me to be able to do that, and I love stretching out after a long day. But I also, some days I'm not quite in the right frame of mind, and just doing a few bits is probably the right way forward. Absolutely.
Because I also think as well, I know it has an effect. Exercise is not just about strengthening your body, it's mental health. Again, that's another area we need to probably go into another time. But I suppose what I'm thinking about for our age now is that we do need to be thinking about our core, and women especially using weights.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I think, people get very, very focused on their weight and on the scales and that kind of thing. And actually they could, I know it's something, again, you've harped on about before, Louise, is that actually it's about being strong, not thin, and or slim, I think is the phrase. And actually the muscles underneath prevent, if you've got good core and you're looking to prevent back pain, and all of these things become a vicious circle. People who struggle with back pain are more likely to gain weight, are more likely to have medical problems, which make them more likely to not exercise, which makes them more likely to become more unwell and more frail and fall, and it all forms part of a bigger picture.
And it becomes a
integrating, making simple day-to-day exercise part of your life early on, it will set you up in such good stead in the future. And as you say, it's so easy nowadays. I mean, everything's on YouTube. I mean, you can do anything: yoga, Pilates, HIIT, Joe Wick's wonderful beginners HIIT exercises. Just go and find what you like, and find someone you like, and go and use their.
And I think that's it. You can find, I know time is our biggest issue. And again, it's something else I bang on about all the time. But actually, 10 minutes or 15 minutes, we can all find less time on social media, less time. Come on, actually stop watching this and go and do some exercise. No, don't stop. But yeah. So the other thing that actually is what people probably don't, and again, in Pilates, I know I do, and we do, is balanced exercises. Because again, that's strengthening. And we don't think about that, do we? Because we've not got problems potentially at our age with that. So actually,
it becomes a huge problem as you get older and your muscles get weaker. And balance is made up of your ears, so your balance mechanism in your ears, your eyesight, your muscle strength, which sends messages back to your brain, and also your brain's processing of those messages, as well as the sensation in your feet. So there's multiple different things which feed into balance. And obviously you can tell by just those things I've listed that you can see as you get older, those things are affected. Your vision's affected. Naturally your balance mechanism in your ear will be affected. Actually, you've got to work on the things that you can work on, and by literally doing those very simple exercises, you are training all of those bits of your body to stay strong and keep practicing. And it's people lose so much confidence when they lose their balance, and they you could be using a stick or a Zimmer frame and still have good balance. You might just have that little bit of support, but actually if you've got good balance, you're it's so much lower risk. And the rehabilitation physios do so much work with people, which is absolutely brilliant. But if they'd known all of those other things properly before they had a problem, they wouldn't probably have had the problem in the first place. And that's where the key is, the starting early, being in good habits, carrying on as long as you physically possibly can, and adapting. You don't have to be doing the same things at 40 that you are at 50, that you are at 60, and certainly not at 70 and 80, but as long as you're doing something, and it's something that is keeping you strong, improving your balance, ideally as well, obviously getting your heart working. Your heart's a muscle, it needs to work as well.
I know, and there is so much out there, but I think the biggest thing that we can take away is that actually don't stop moving.
Don't stop moving. Don't
sit for long periods, and just keep everything as strong and working as you can, because we're all retiring at some point. Well, no, obviously I'm not retiring just yet, but we're all looking to retire, and actually we've got lots of things that we want to do, and I want to be fit and healthy for that. So taking 10 minutes out of my day is not going to be a big issue. So I think, Georgina, we could have talks about all sorts of things. The whole balance thing is, I focus on the core and the strength, as balance for me, but the whole brain and everything happening in it. So, and the feet sensation. So
all feeds into it.
We need a weekly show with you, Georgina. But no, I think we're going to leave it there. But I really hope that you have found this insightful, if nothing else. Thank you, Georgina, for joining us this week. Thank you for your time, and really appreciate everything you've told us. It's been fantastic. So,
it's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Well, hopefully we'll see you again on here soon. Each week after the Pilates for Busy People weekly show, I will set you a challenge to help you bring more movement into your day. This week, Georgina has set you a challenge to do while you are brushing your teeth in the morning. While you're brushing them, stand there with one foot directly in front of the other. It's a great way to improve your balance. Let me know how you're getting on by using the hashtag Movement Challenge on Instagram or Twitter. I hope you've enjoyed this week's show. If you have, then please do subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss out on the next show. See you next week.